skiing steep slopes can be a challenge because you're on a bigger gradient. You've got to be technically sound to make those turns work. So if you look where I'm standing, I'm on the front side of Montgelée in Verbier. It's a place we take some of our super groups, for example, and you know, you see people react differently when they get into these environments. They don't ski on here like they carve on piste. People's body weight sometimes goes back, the technique can be a little bit less, the arms can throw around, and sometimes a bit too much rotation with the upper body. And these are the things we want to go over now to try and make sure that you guys have a technically sound run in the steeps. If you get into a steep face and it was a little bit more than you expected, one of the things you can think about doing is, rather than taking the risk of a turn, just use a side slip. We've already talked about side slipping in previous videos, but just remember the basic alpine position, and all you've got to do is let those skis slowly progress down the hill, taking your time, and side slip until you get to a gradient that feels more comfortable for you to turn on. If your confidence isn't fully there, but you feel like you can make a turn, a really good idea for a security turn is a step. You know, you can work on this off of piste, but a step turn, simply stepping up your uphill foot, get a definite platform. It means you haven't got to take the risk if you haven't got the confidence for your hips to commit to the turn, and it'll get you around safe and secure. Just to make it, skiing across here, body in the right position, and as you come through, step it up and finish it off nice and secure. If you're looking at the gradient on steeps and it looks like where the speed could accelerate quite quickly and you don't want it to run away with you and you're not sure of it, just think about making a pivot turn on the spot. Try and get your turn over and done with almost within a 2 meter square. Think of that in your head. You can use things like a pivot turn, like a braquage, however you've ever learnt it. But the idea is we want to try and get those skis around us, from underneath us, within a very short space. To do that, I'm going to get my hip to commit down the hill. As soon as it comes over, the skis can pivot and the turn is nice and secure. Stops me making that distance down the very steep face. So a useful tactic and technique for getting down the steeper faces is using a jump turn to try to reduce the amount of space you take up. If you're on something quite steep, a turn that you would make normally on piste can end up taking, rather than 4 or 5 meters, 40 or 50 meters of drop. And what you want to try and think about with jump turns is just trying to finish and get the turn over and done with in a short space for security. Just to make it, things that are worth practicing first on piste is getting your jump turns into quite a nice confident situation and then bringing it into the off-piste. But just to make them, pole plant hits the ground, you launch, and then you hold the body in the alpine position. Again, and around. And you can see that I'm not losing height. I'm managing to secure myself and not drop too far down the mountain. So when you're starting to want to build your confidence and you're feeling a bit better about where you're standing on the steep face, try to bring in your skiing technique as you would use it on piste. Couple of reminders: you need to make sure you get a definite pressure, definite platform on your new turn-in ski. Try to make sure you're committing with the body down the hill, and to help that along, make sure you've got a definite pole plant connection. A lot of people come into these environments and don't always commit, forget about the pole plant. It's got to be a definite on steeps. So as we go through, position here, hands out to balance, hips ready to move, coming over, pole plant kicks in, over with the hip, pole plant in, over with the hip, pole plant in, over with the hip.